Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Grow Through It podcast. My name is Julia, and today we are talking about how to get out of a funk. I wanted to do this topic today because I have been having a little bit of a rough time. The grief has really hit this past weekend, and I've just not been feeling myself. And I know a couple of my friends are also not feeling themselves and not feeling great. So I wanted to do this episode because I feel like I've come such a long way when it comes to getting out of a funk and not letting it go on too long. Now I know my situation's a little bit different, and grief is going to hit me at different times, and it's going to be a lot of ups and downs, but I think having these tools will help make it more manageable. So back several years ago, I used to be quite anxious. I would get depressed a lot, and the things I did definitely didn't help. So when I started to feel sad or any emotions came up, I would tend to kind of just wallow in it, and I used to just lay in bed all day and binge watch TV and binge food. I would stay in my pajamas all day, and this would just send me into a spiral, and it just continued from there because the longer I stayed in bed, the harder it was to get out. So those are definitely things that made it a lot worse and made it stay longer. I remember going to my therapist and talking about these kind of depressive episodes, and I was like, yeah, they just come on like once a month where I just like lay in bed for like a couple days. And sometimes it would be like a week, and I would still go to work and everything, but when I wasn't working or in school, I was in bed. And this was just because I was super unhappy, but my habits definitely did not help. So now what I do is a lot different. There's several different things I do and several different things I recommend doing. But if you are in this boat right now and that's kind of what you do, then definitely listen to this episode, and hopefully it gives you some good tools to get yourself out of that. Now, before I start, I just want to say some days I need like a bed rot day, and it doesn't happen very often, maybe once every like couple months, where I just want to chill. Usually I'm not in bed, actually. I'm usually on the couch, but there's certain days where I just want to lay on the couch, watch TV, have a nap, and just do nothing. And that's okay. However, I never let that go on longer than one day. And sometimes it's not even a full day. But if I go past that day and it's continued, then I really start to feel the depression hit worse. And this happens sometimes when I get sick, because when I'm sick, obviously I'm going to be resting and I'm going to be in bed or on the couch. And I notice myself get quite depressed when I get sick because I can't do anything. So it's kind of similar there, where when I'm sick, obviously I can't help it. I should be resting, but I start to feel that creep in, and it's definitely not a good feeling. So if I can avoid that, especially when I'm not sick, then I definitely want to do that. So the first thing that I think is actually the most helpful is getting out in the sunlight. Last weekend, I was having a really, really rough day one day I think it was on Sunday. It was probably the worst I've felt in a very long time. And I was struggling to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. But it was a beautiful day outside, and I knew I needed to feel the sunlight. And even if it meant just relaxing outside, I knew I needed to feel that. So I brought a blanket outside on the grass and I grabbed one of my books. I'm reading one of Colleen Hoover's books for my fiction book. And I just laid out in the sun for like probably an hour and a half and read my book. And I felt so much better. And I like instantly felt better when I got outside. So that really brought me out of what I was feeling. I was still feeling it a little bit, of course, but it just helped lift that heaviness a little bit. So that is like the number one thing, whether it's laying out in the sun like I did, going for a walk, you can sit out and have a coffee outside, but getting sunlight and being outside, even if it's not sunny, just being outside is so helpful. I know when I was doing 75 hard, there was some rough days and I had to do a 45-minute workout outside. So I was outside walking or running every single day, and that helped my mental health so much. Just getting out in the fresh air and not really being on my phone and just being out in nature was just so helpful. The next one is exercise. Exercise to me is so extremely important, and I think everybody should be doing it in whatever capacity they can do it in. But exercise helps mental health so much. And it doesn't have to be a crazy workout. You don't have to do like this big hit workout or go to a spin class. Like you can literally do yoga or walk on the treadmill. I highly recommend weightlifting because that is so good for your mental and physical health, especially as we age. But working out again just helps clear my mind. It helps me feel more confident and just overall happier. So definitely exercise. Those are like my top two, sunlight and exercise. And if you compare them, that's even better. The next one is asking for help and really just stop isolating. Sometimes when I would get into those depressive episodes, I wouldn't really want to be around anyone, which made it worse. So asking for help, like texting one safe person, if that's a family member or a friend or whoever it may be, or talking to your therapist. Also going somewhere with people around, like a coffee shop or going for a walk and seeing people outside or going to the gym. Just somewhere where there's people around, because human connection really changes your nervous system. And spend time with people who are comforting as well. On the weekend, I spent lots of time with Paul, and it really, really helped. The next one is eating healthy. So this one is tricky because I know that sometimes when we're feeling sad or we're in our emotions or we're just not feeling good, we want to turn to comfort. And that often means comfort food, which can be fine in moderation, but you don't want to continue to eat that way because, again, it will just make it worse and you'll start to kind of spiral and it'll be hard to come off of that. So, one meal or one ice cream trip, whatever it is, that's fine. I do that too. But for the most part, you should be eating healthy consistently because those nutrients are going to help you feel so much better. I know for me, if I'm eating bad, I just feel sluggish. I feel tired. I feel bloated. I feel just not my typical self. But when I'm eating healthy, I just feel so much better. I feel like I can think clearly. I feel like I am more confident and, again, just overall happier. So your diet definitely matters. The next thing is stop consuming so much negativity. I know when we are feeling sad or down and we are kind of just relaxing, we can spend a lot of time on our phones and we can doom scroll and listen to bad news or bad stories, and that just adds to the spiral. You could be comparing yourself to other people online, or just hearing negative energy and negative news and negative people really does affect your mental health. I know that even when I'm at work and I hear people just talk so negatively, it really brings my mood down, and I have to remove myself from that situation because I don't want that to affect my energy. And it's actually why I left a previous job, because there was just so much negativity all the time, and I didn't want to be around that. Because even though I am pretty optimistic and I think really positively and I have really healthy habits and I do all the things, those comments from other people can affect me. No matter how hard I try to not let them affect me, it does. And even if you're super strong, it can be very hard for it to not affect you. So you have to protect your energy and get off of socials if they are contributing to negativity, or just stop being around people, or limit yourself of negative people in your life and just try to be around some more positivity. It's okay to be on your phone, but you have to be following accounts that bring you joy, not make you feel bad about yourself. The next one is cleaning or resetting your environment. I've talked about this many times, but having a clean house and a clean workspace, a clean area is just so beneficial. I start my morning every morning with making my bed, and I never used to do that. I thought it was stupid because I was like, I'm just going to get in bed at the end of the day. I don't need to make it. But I've made my bed every day for years now, and it's truly made a huge difference. I also open all the curtains in the house, and it's a little hard right now because it's very hot where I am and we don't have air conditioning. So the blinds are closed right now, but for the most part, I always open them because I love the natural light and I love the sunlight coming in. And I know in places that don't get a lot of sunlight, or sometimes in the winter when it's dark earlier, we all know we feel more depressed or more sad, more down, and that is because we're not getting that sunlight. So open your curtains and get the sunlight in your house. Or if that's not a possibility, again, if it's really hot like it is where I am and I want to keep the heat out of the house, then just go outside and get that sunlight. Also, just tidying up any clutter, making sure your kitchen counters are clear and wiped down, making sure your laundry is in the laundry basket, not on the floor. Just those little things do make a huge difference. The next one is reading a good book. Like I said, I did this the other day when I was outside, and it was such a good book. I had only read a chapter like a month ago, and then I've been so focused on my personal development book that I kind of forgot about it. So I started reading it and I was hooked. I didn't want to stop. And sometimes when life feels really heavy, reading a good fiction book kind of gets you out of your head and it helps you escape a little bit. And I know that can be tricky to navigate because we don't want to be avoidant and escape too much, but sometimes we really do need that mental break. And I feel like reading a book is a lot better than watching TV or a movie, because at least for me, that can be triggering and it can start a spiral. So reading a good book, reading is a very good habit to have, and you're still getting that entertainment without just like vegging out on the couch and watching mindless TV. The next one is grounding yourself, whether that's breath work, taking a shower, stretching, yoga, meditating, whatever it is. I know on Sunday when I was feeling really sad, I did not want to get out of bed. And finally, when I did, I took a shower. And even after that shower, I felt way better. And I feel like also when I shower, I don't want to get back into bed because my hair is wet. So showering is really helpful for me. And it can also be a spiritual practice. You can think of the water as washing away any negative energy. I know I've heard of a lot of people doing that after a really hard day or after work every day. They come home, take a shower, and imagine all the negativity and all of the energy from other people getting washed away. And I think that's really helpful. Breath work has also been really helpful for me. When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just take 5 deep breaths and it really calms my anxiety. The next one is doing your gratitudes. So every single morning, I write down 5 things I'm grateful for, and then I write 2 affirmations. And again, this has helped so much, even on the really, really hard days. Even on the day my dad passed away, I wrote down 5 gratitudes. I can always find 5 things I'm grateful for, even if they're silly. But that just helps get me out of a negative mindset. And it also helps me find more positivity in the day. So even if I had a really rough day the day before, in the morning, I'll go through my day, find 5 things from the previous day. And it helps me just not think so negatively about the previous day and helps me just find more positivity. The next thing I just recently started doing because I think it was someone on TikTok, she said she did this, but I have been starting every morning by saying in my mind, something beautiful is going to happen today. And it truly has shown up. I feel like bigger and better things are happening each day. The first day I said that, I was out for a walk and this dog came like running up to me. This owner like lost their dog and I brought the dog back to them. And then when I got home, there was a plant on my doorstep from Paul's family, which was just so nice. And then the next day, there was something else that happened. I can't remember. But every single day, there's been one beautiful thing that has happened. And I feel like it's been more powerful than I thought it would. So I urge you to just try it. All you have to do is say in your mind, something beautiful is going to happen today. And that's all you have to do. Just say it once in the morning and see what happens. Your mindset really affects your nervous system, and the stories you repeat matter, and what you focus on grows. So we definitely don't want to keep repeating negativity if really bad things are happening to you, saying things like, this always happens to me, or of course this would happen to me, or just expecting more things to happen. Typically, more things will happen because that is what your brain is looking for. And whether you're spiritual or not, the universe hears you and it will give you more negativity the more you focus on it. And it's not just in a spiritual aspect, it's your nervous system as well. The stories you say to yourself really do matter. So I encourage you, if you are the type of person to say things like, this always happens to me, of course this happened, and you just expect bad things, I really encourage you to try and shift your mindset into more positivity. Again, say something beautiful is going to happen today. You can do your gratitudes. Do these things to help get out of that cycle and see what shows up in your life. The last thing is romanticizing your life again. So playing music in the car. This is something that is really helpful for me. I put on a really good playlist of songs that I know the lyrics to and I can sing them. Sometimes I don't want to sing, but once I start, then I am feeling so much better, especially if it's like older music that's like nostalgic for me. I really, really enjoy that. You could also make your coffee feel special. You can go to a coffee shop and get a fancy latte, or you can make one at home and just add a couple things in there that you wouldn't normally, like top it with cinnamon or make your own cold foam, whatever it is. Or you can wear an outfit that you love that makes you feel really good. Just find things that help you romanticize your life. And then lastly, I just want to touch again on things to not do if you're in a funk, which is rot in bed all day, especially if it goes past a day. Don't cancel on everyone. You need that social interaction. Don't overconsume social media, especially if you are seeing a lot of negativity. And don't wait to feel motivated first, because that motivation is not going to come. You have to just take an action, and that will help you create more momentum, because motivation rarely comes. So that is it for today's episode. I really hope I gave you some good ideas on how to get out of a funk. If you have anything else that you do that I didn't mention, I would love to hear about it. Maybe it would help me. Maybe I can share it with you guys and it can help more people. So if you have anything else, you can DM me on Instagram at growthroughit.pod. Also, if you have any questions, you can also DM me on Instagram or use the link in the show notes to anonymously ask a question or suggest a future topic idea. If you enjoy this podcast, I would be so grateful if you left a rating or review and follow or subscribe and share it with someone you think would benefit from it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and remember that you are worthy. See you next time.